The reason why I brought the sample here because I want to share with you the real life examples I've gone through. I want to use those as talking points, as props, and I will encourage you to ask questions. And any questions, there's no stupid questions. Okay? Okay, guys? Yes? Okay. So please feel free to stand up and come up here. Feel free to walk around. I don't want this to be a sitting there, me talking, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. So please feel free to ask questions. And please, I really encourage it's a two-way communication. And should we turn the lights off on the top here so I can see better? I've seen this already. The point is actually, can you see this? All the way in the back.
Yes or no?
Yes? No? Maybe? Better? Okay. And by the way, I'm trying to freestyle. I did prepare. Okay. My work just called me from office, but I'm gonna cancel this call because you guys are more important. So my name is James Tsai. I'm the creative director for this company called Nytec, based in Kirkland, Washington. It's about 15 minutes away from downtown Seattle. So the company is about product development. So we do design, engineering, and also manufacturing management. That's kind of like what I do. I lead and I'm looking after the team of industrial designers, and I help from initial business approach, business engagement, to concept development, all the way to production. So I would take the initial idea, sell to the customer, or my boss, and I'll take it all the way to China, and I'll make sure whatever I promised them, I deliver in the end. If something I cannot deliver, I'll make sure they know. And to me, that's really important as a designer. As a very responsible designer, you have to make sure that you communicate properly throughout the journey. For me, the journey is actually from the beginning of the engagement all the way to product shipped to the end customer. Again, I said today is not about me, so that's fast track back all the way when I was 19. I came from Taiwan. English is my second language. I barely speak English at the time. So if you're 19, you speak English, you're in better position than I am right now, or back then. That was my really early sketch in 2002, so I was learning really hard. To me, I never trust talent. All I care is actually I told myself, James, it's nothing to do with talent. There's nothing to do with smart. You have to work for it. And that was how I started. I stay in the dorm across the street. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I stay in the dorm in school, and I surround myself with inspirations. Inspirations coming from schools in art center or stuff I see from the internet. The whole point is actually getting myself surrounded by people that's better than me from sketching perspective, from design perspective, or from idea perspective. Because at the time, I told myself, if you can surround it with people that's smarter than you or better than you, at some point, you will catch up. So I told myself, James, you have to catch up. I worked really, really hard at the time, and luckily enough, I got the Duncan Anderson scholarship. So I met this person sitting next to me. His name is Mark Tapennier, son of the faculty. I should probably remember Mark back then. So he was one of the design directors in BMW Design Works. And at that year, he got invited to the Duncan Anderson lunch, and he sat right next to me. So he told me this, James, congratulations, you got this award. I know you must either talented or you work hard. So what are you? I said, oh, I don't know, maybe both. But I know the reality in my head is I never see myself talented. But I can tell at least I work really hard. But I see that kind of job interview, so I cannot say no, I have to say yes. So I told him that, yes, I'm willing to take on the internship. Low pay, no pay, I don't care. I know Santa Barbara is 3 hours away, but I'm willing to travel to you, to work for you. So I got my first internship on site. And I didn't know what I should promise, because what I promised was a 3-hour drive. Every week, Monday, I show up at work, 9 o'clock to be proper. That means I need to leave at 6 o'clock. If it's unexpected traffic, sometimes I would show up at 9:20. And Mark would tell me, James, work starting at 9 o'clock, not 9:20. I don't care how far you travel, 9 o'clock. It was really, really hard. And he would tell me this, James, your work sucks, and my grandma can draw better than you do. I didn't get it at the time. I feel really, really disencouraged. And I can tell you many, many times I tell myself, James, you're probably not going to make it. It was really hard, but I survived. It was a Christmas Eve a couple of days ago before a Christmas, and it was, I think it's in 2003, and I was working in the office. And when I said office, it was actually a factory at the time. So when he just started, he started in a factory. He has a small offices, and I was employee number 1. Now the company grow and have really nice buildings. So go search for lifestyledesign.com, and you will see the new office. And he got amazing work nowadays. So I'm really glad that was kind of part of that starting point for Mark. So this was some of the work I did at the time in my internship. By the way, average, I do my calculation, I probably get paid like $5 an hour. And I pay for my Motel 6 from Monday to Friday during summer and during my winter break. So that was my student work. During the school, I have to work to make sure I can pay myself to survive. And it was really tough for me at the time. For you, I don't know, some of you in the junior studio, that's exactly where I sit, and it looks very much the same. So I kind of invest myself with the latest scanner, CRT monitor, and also I bought myself a really fancy MacBook Pro. I think at the time it was magnesium. I don't know if you guys heard about magnesium. When they came out with magnesium, yeah, but it was the first generation of MacBook Pro. And I invest myself a really fancy printer. And my colleagues think I was crazy, but it was the time I told myself, James, the only one you have to invest on yourself is you. So you should invest. And I pay all the money to get all the equipment I need to make sure I do all the work. So I actually put all in to make sure I can at least have a shot. And I got the Duncan Anderson Award. Pretty much that paid for all the equipment I invest. So I have no way to back out. I know this might look really funny, but that's actually paid for my school. I designed catalogs. And I had to be the art director for all the photo shoot. You know, tough job, but somebody had to do it, right? Seriously, I actually art directing. I have to pick the outfit, the pose. I have to do all the pose, making sure that the layout looks right, and I'm fully responsible for their catalog. And that paid for my school years. So I have to manage my schoolwork. I have to make sure my side job gets paid. That's why there were some projects I might not be doing a really good job because I might be working really late, making sure I can get my deliverable on time to my customer. That's my junior work. At the time, I invest in digital sketching, so I have my Webcam tablet, try to practice my eye-hand coordination, look at the display by my sketches like this. So I don't look at my hand, I look at the display. So I practice the time. It was really tough. But somehow I managed to do all my sketches on that tablet because I believe at the time that was the future. Are you guys with me so far?
Yeah.
Good. So that was one of my projects. I think one trick I always do is I always not shy about bugging, harassing professionals, critiquing my work. If people say, yeah, send me your work, I'll give you some feedback, I always send them work. I always follow up. And I'll make sure they give me feedback. Getting feedback is one thing is really important, but most important thing is building connections. And we will talk about connections later, because connection is a key to get yourself into the industry. Connection is actually the one getting you a job. And of course, you need to have all the good work to back you up. And talking about connection, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's back in 2005. This email is actually coming from Dave. So I dig into this email and look at all the photos, and I found this email that Dave actually commenting on my one-page kind of portfolio teaser. And he told me this, James, too much stuff. Make sure you have a high resolution so people can see better. And by the way, he was going to introduce me to Andy Logan. That was the topic of the email. And he did. So he put me in contact with Andy Logan. So I was visiting Frog. I think he was in Frog at the time. So I visited him in Frog. So connection can be coming from your teacher too. And of course, you live by your work and eat with your work, and you stay focused, and that was my focus at the time. Yep, that was me in the studio. I don't know if you guys know where this is. There is a storage room, I heard it's not there anymore, in the junior studio.
It's still there.
No, it's still there. Paul Kattner sleeps in that.
So, I think my buddy Arnie took this photo, the German exchange student that was my really, really good friend at the time. He's still my good friend right now. And Arnie took this photo because I was totally, really tired and I really had to crash. So I just go into the storage and I just totally pass out. I did live in the design bubble. We'll go through that part later, but that was me. So this is 3 days before the graduation show. I was really, really tired. I surround myself with whatever information I can get to make sure I get the final boost, to make sure I can do everything I can to have my final punch for my thesis. Throughout the project for my thesis, I kind of building small-scale mock-ups. I didn't know how to sew, so I have to kind of learn how to sew, learn how to weld, because I don't know why I pick a chair, because I would think I want to do some kind of task chair. And I realized it's kind of fabric forming and also push and pull and stretching. So that was my decision to proceed as my graduation project. That was a larger scale of my sketch at the time that I heavily invest. Now I look at this, it's like, ooh, too much going on. But at the time that actually worked. So I sent out to companies, to the connection I have, at least I can convince them, the perception, at least they can tell this guy actually really want a job. So I think what's really important is, doesn't matter how hard you work, you kind of have to convince whoever you want to convince that you really love doing this. I think that's the #1 rule for getting a job. If you show up, say, I can work for you for free. But seriously, you show up in producing, they will want to pay you money. But you need to get yourself your foot in the door. That was the whole point. So that was my resume at the time. It's pretty standard. And I did put on cooking as my interest. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. So Who care about if I cook, right? So that was my class. Go Beach 05. That was my 05 class. Studio, look familiar? Slightly different, but it was studio back then. It looks way cleaner because we almost got kicked out. So we have to clean before we get kicked out. I think at the time we have to clean up. I believe that was our class photo, the last photo we took before everyone split. That's Arnie. We were traveling for work for Mark. So I introduced him to Mark, and he later worked with Mark for a number of years and take the company to a next level. Speaking of a connection, Arnie is now the art director for Apple. So he managed all the rendering, visualization in Apple. And we're still really good friends. And I'm trying to convince him to come to talk. No guarantee, but I'm talking to him, say, hey, dude, you should try to do this. We'll work on that with Dave and all the faculty members. So that's my class 2005. Then I proceed to my contracting job at the time was working with Lunar down in San Francisco. So I moved to San Francisco and contracting Lunar in a month-ish. They offered me a full position, and because I focus on connection, right? So I got connected to this company called One & Co. Back then, it was considered as a very kind of European boutique design firm, and I really liked the work they did. So I used my first offer, and I talked to them and say, hey, I just want to talk to you guys because I'm about to go for work for Lunar, but I want to be able to see you guys before I fully commit. And guess what? It works every time. Talk to me before you sign the contract. So they invite me for an interview, so I show up. And of course, I run down to my pitch, everything. And they said, oh, OK, good. So please give me a couple of days. We're going to send you an offer as well. So they give me an offer. Luna pays more, they pay less. But what the heck? I need to know I have to do what I love. So I love One & Co. I know what they do. So I go for less money, but I love the project they do. And of course, when I started, always about sketching, because that's what I was kind of thriving and very, very into. So I always sketch in my sketchbook, and I think I talked to the junior class today, always have your sketchbook. So that was my sketchbook at the time. Even though I was sketching Dell computer, but I was still sketching goggle because I love goggles. One & Co did a lot of snowboarding boots, and snowboarding was one of our thing. And we actually have a cabin in Tahoe, so we can test our own boots that in Tahoe. We go snowboarding together, test our equipments. So this was the Dell computer I did at the time. Snowboarding boots. I love snowboarding boots, and I love products that I can actually design, and I can put it on and try it and go out with it. I think that's kind of the pride that you had as a designer, that you get to use it, your design. So I'm going to flick through some examples, helmets. We did a lot of helmets for K2, snowboarding boots, snowboarding gloves for bonfire. I found a couple old gloves. They are here. So if you guys far away, please come over here, okay? Feel free to stand up and stretch a little bit. Okay, I want to make this as casual as possible. I'm only using this as examples. So if you're curious, it's okay to come over here to see it. So we did some sports drinks bottles. At the time, Microsoft was a client. So I designed the first kind of soft tail webcam, and that was one of the really early sketch, and Microsoft was one of our clients. And that camera got picked to go for production. That was one of my really early projects that gets made to production. So I always have one as a prop in case I need to go to my next interview, need to have everything ready. And of course, more sketches and sketches. So at the time, sometimes I sketch my own design, sometimes I sketch for competition, so that we have a completed design, and we have to go back to complete the whole story. So I will sketch back for the story's sake. In 2008, the company, actually in 2006, we actually had a customer called HTC. At the time, HTC was a really small, like OEM smartphone manufacturer. And then we designed this phone called Diamond. That was the first kind of HTC branded phone, kind of changing the company. And that was my first smartphone project. And that happened to be the really first sketch that I did for the program. In 2008, the company HTC acquired One & Co. Back then. After that is phone, after another phone, and more phone, and more phones. So this is one of a project that I did that thinking about stay true to the components and kind of build this up as architecture. And in the end, that sketch or that design got selected and inspired for this Google phone. Again, more phones until this is my last phone that I did for HTC. And I got kind of tired of phones. So at the time, they'll have this slider. I know that back then, slider was kind of the thing. I got some slider over here. So if you're sitting all the way in the back, it's right here, the real thing. I got some components. I'm trying to get you guys over here. So I don't know if you see my intention. One thing I want to point out is everyone was doing the kind of like 2 tracks and was really, really ugly. So I asked myself, is anything I can do to make this as a feature? So I was asking engineer, can we make this piece as more of an intentional design detail so we don't have 2 things that kind of sticking out as track, like this one. And I always hate those tracks. So I want to design in a way that it feels like, or appear to be, somebody actually pay attention to it. So it looks like it's purposeful design detail. But basically, we did this to kind of hide the tracks. So in 2011, I got so tired of working on phones, and one day I got a phone call from hiring manager from Microsoft. So they offered me a position, or they offered me an interview to fly me over without too much context about what I'm going to be working on. They say something to do with hardware. It's a new group, we're forming this, and if you're interested, we'll fly you in and we'll tell you more. So I come in for the interview in Microsoft. Do you want to hear about the interview process in Microsoft?
Yeah, sure.
Is it yes?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a very calculated process. And when Microsoft fly you in, it's actually involving many moving parts. That means somebody has to book your tickets, book your hotels, and know all your preferences, and before that actually happens. On the day that when you arrive, they will have a person dedicated for you, so that person will be kind of like your local guide-ish. So I show at 8 o'clock, and I have a debriefing with the recruiter. The hiring manager will come in and say hi, and they say, James, you can go through the process. It's going to be a long process, just give you a heads up. But if you go through that, it's a good thing. And they didn't get it. What do you mean by it's a good thing? He said, you will see. So my first interview starting at 8:30. And it was kind of very particular, very general design process walk through your portfolio. So I kind of explain my portfolio 3 times to 3 groups of people. They'll come in, shake my hands. I don't even remember all the names, but it's like 5 people came in first, and another group of 3, another group of 2, and that was like 3 hours already. And I got invited to a lunch. It's not even lunch, it's actually a meeting lunch. Basically, I didn't eat. I just like, yes, yes, and just kind of sailing. Then the hiring manager after lunch, he came and said, James, you're doing pretty good. I said, yeah, okay, good. So that means it's good, right? He said, yeah, if you actually make it to the lunch, that's a good thing. I'm going to tell you what's happening in the back end, but that's what I see at the time. And then 3:30 p.m., I get to meet the general manager. Basically, he just shake hands and everything was good. So with interview, that's probably the most simple and straightforward. And then after that, my hiring manager said, James, you're doing great. You can hear more information from me. Okay, so that's my experience. In the back end, what happened that whole day? There's email threads and protocol about this guy, James Tsai. Either hire or no hire. Everyone actually rates James Tsai, hire or no hire. Whoever in the interloop, in the interview chain, has to vote. There's no maybe. Either you hire or no hire. And for hiring manager, if they see 2 or 3 no hire, it's a flag. That means you're gonna be potentially bringing somebody in that may not work well with your team or the rest of the team. I didn't know that all at one people that come into interview, they're coming from all different functions. From engineering, from research, from ID, from user interaction, from PM, all other functions. So it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And in the end, my hiring manager told me that, James, after I got hired, he said, James, your interview was really good. What happened is actually there was no flag. There was no hire. He said that was the easiest decision for me because if I see 2, even I like you, once I see 2 flags, I cannot hire you because the risk is too big for me. Because if I hire you, it's much easier than if I want to fire you. If I want to fire you, it's a really, really difficult work. It takes way more preparation than to hire somebody full-time. So that's the process. So if you actually happen to get invited to a company, bigger company, if you see interview 1 under the interview, that's definitely a good sign. Okay, so stick with it. Never show that, oh, I'm so tired. So that was my first project. It was Webcam to supporting the H.264. At the time, Microsoft also was about to adapt this technology. So I worked 6 months in with this program right here. Got all little samples over here. So if you guys want to see, come all the way here. And all the way about to almost to production, the project got canceled because Logitech is decided to do H.264. And I found out my program, the reason why my program get initially signed off or kick off because they wanted to push H.264 for Microsoft to enable that software, to enable that protocol. That was it. That was the purpose for this camera. But since Logitech is about to announce a camera with this feature, there's no need for this product. Of course, I feel really bad, but I got 2 patents out of this project. So I was really proud that working with our engineers, be able to have 2 patents on the program. So I want to share with you one of the program. Traditionally, this thing is called a tail or a leg. Usually they are way thicker. The reason why they are way thicker is because they're putting weight to make sure they can counterbalance the camera. So the pattern that we have, or I cannot say me, but I was part of what they call the inventor. This piece is actually a cast piece. So this piece is really, really heavy. So in order to do this, I can actually make this thing way thinner, but make this way heavier so I can minimize the whole bulk of plastic. So in the end, everything looks very, very streamlined. And all the balance was very well considered throughout the whole process to accommodating different thickness of CRT and also flat screen monitors. And everything has looked really clean and streamlined. That was my intentional design detail. And then I move on to keyboards. So at the time, I get asked to take on a project on a one of the Microsoft best-selling ergonomic keyboards. So I have to design a new keyboard respecting the same ergonomic constraints, but come up with something that's new, something people might consider putting on their desk. So although all the contact surface is exactly the same or familiar, the profile is the one I want to make sure is as minimum, as thin as possible. And this was one of the really early prototypes. See how thin that is? But it's not feasible. So we have to grow, right? We have to kind of fight through those battles to find something structurally sound to actually make that a reality. The initial design idea was that I want it as thin as a piece of paper. I want to keep that ergonomic benefits by maintaining the overall form, but I want to make it as thin as I can. It's like barely there. That was the design intent. So I worked through with our engineers. It's a lot of back and forth. Design details. The one I'm spending most of my time is actually not coming out with a design. It's actually executing the design, working through all the obstacles, working through all these, why would you care? Why people care? The battery door, you only do that once a 6 months. James, why are you spending money over there? But what I believe at the time is, if you pay attention to details like this, people eventually will notice. They will notice, aha, it's magnets. It's not even a latch. So that magnets feature got applied onto all these features here. So do I have a keyboard? Yeah, Dave has the keyboard. I might have the, aha, okay. Dave, I need to borrow that prop.
No.
For a little bit, I'll return to you. Everything's in magnet. So at the time, the same keyboard, the previous generation, everything was using this mechanical lock, and I proposed this magnets. I think it was cool. The engineers in the beginning, they said, James, that's a lot of money. You know, magnets really expensive. So how did we do it? So the reason why we actually can pull this off, because we're not buying one magnets, because I was convinced the engineer that that was the right way to go, and they fully supported me to go for that directions. So every compartment, from mouse to keyboard, everything was using the magnets. So we're buying exactly the same magnets. With volume, that become reality. So how did I do that? How did I convince the engineers? I shared with the junior class today. I give him tons of credits. Especially in front of his boss. When the project actually after ship it, I actually publicly, oftentimes I say, because of this guy right here, that's why this is reality. So I give all the credit to him, and throughout times, he's always supporting me. James, let's do something cool. You remember the keyboard we did? Yeah, you know, we should try harder. So my takeaway is always give people credit. So I have this phrase I use, is elevating your own brand Promoting your own brand by elevating and promoting others. So once you not shy giving other credits, trust me, eventually that's gonna come back. People want to work with people easy to work with. And people want to feel proud about their job. So don't be shy giving credit. Even just a tiny bit, even 30% more. So that's how I did it. Basically, I did nothing. I say, dude, figure this out. You're my hero. Let's make it. It's make or break it. But I'm relying on you. And he figured a way out. Of course, throughout the whole process was not easy. So initially, there was structurally say, James, no way you can actually have the structure. It's too thin, and there's no way I can build a structure. So in the end, we kind of designed this all together with this PC ABS with a 50% glass field material. Sounds really advanced at the same time. It's got glass in there to make sure that structurally sound. Microsoft has really strict drop requirement, so we'll have to survive that drop requirement. So in a way, designing is probably the easiest job for me at the time. What's really difficult is to actually bring everyone on the same page and pamper that vision all the way to reality. So I kind of consider myself not a designer. I would see myself more of a design guardian. It's like a hand holding a little baby and making sure that, yep, it's not going to go exactly the way you want it, but at least somewhere over there in that route. And we actually make a lot of changes throughout the process. But it was quite a journey, and the hard work pays off. Promoting others actually pays off. That was one of my early sketches. And at the time, that engineer told me that, James, you cannot have two buttons going this way and that way because you have this trigger mechanism that you cannot push this in this location. So I proposed in my time with doing smartphones, we did a lot of metal dome switch. So I proposed to the design engineer that can we look into a dome switch altogether as a design solution. And he listened, he took it, and he made it. And of course, I gave him a lot of credit. So that was one of the really good examples that working really close with engineers, with researchers, and team players. The team player spirit, it will always take you further. So this is the mouse before, this is the mouse after. And it was the first time Microsoft is actually willing to put money underneath the battery cover. If you're willing to come closer, you can actually see the mouse. Everything is actually using magnets. And I intentionally making sure that all the colors coordinate very well. And at the time, Microsoft was pushing Windows 8, and that was a Windows 8 color. Sometimes you get really lucky, your product can end up in the movie. So I accidentally discovered that this actually product got featured in the Batman movie. So that was something that, it's cool. I like it. And then I got invited, one day I got invited to a secret meeting, and one day I show up at work, everyone's smiling at me, and people ask me, James, have you signed yet? I said, sign what? Apparently, at the time, Microsoft was working on this new project, a secret project. It's called The Thing. What thing? The thing is Surface. Before I joined Surface, there was a really, really small team of 4 people. So I was probably number 5 on the ID team that worked on Surface. So my job was designing the keyboard for Surface from generation 2, 3, and 4. That was my area of focus after that. before you join that program, you don't talk about this. No one knows Microsoft is working on this thing called Surface. It's a thing. You have to sign special NDA that's like 5 pages. And at the time was the general manager of Surface Group, Panos. He said, James, have you decided? I said, decide what? To sign the contract? I said, yeah. Do I have a choice? No, I don't. Yeah, I'm on it. Sign the contract, then you go to the room. So I signed the contract, and I got debriefed on Microsoft doing the thing. It was a really big deal at the time for us. So the designing was actually, I wouldn't say designing was the most challenging part. I would say the most challenging part is actually bring everyone together. I think one thing was working in a company like Microsoft. It's a huge company, and you want to make sure everyone's voice is heard. At the same time, you want them to go to the way you want them to go. It's actually really challenging. So that was my time with Microsoft. And then one day I got the phone call, and I got another phone call. It's always about connection, right? So later on you will find out after the first job, you want to make sure that you promote yourself to the point that your next job is people actually calling you or email you, say, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to come to visit us? Let's catch up. That's a really good sign. That means people are curious about what you do right now, and they're curious, or they heard something in the past, somebody talk about you, and your name show up. Take that as an opportunity and go to those meetup or coffee or lunch. That's actually how I get my next job. And then I moved this company called Nytec. At the time, it was a staffing firm. So my hiring manager, Vince, he told me that, James, I'm about to start a new design department. We want to do design and want to do engineering. And I will only stay in my current role as a design director for a few years, and I want to move up. So if we do well together, and I will make sure that we grow together as a team. So I took his word, go to a smaller company. At the time, it was like, I was in Microsoft. Now I go to the smaller company. But there's plenty of upside, because now I actually get to decide my own destiny in many ways. So I was looking at after a design team that we do design and engineering, and my core focus was building the team and also building the initial design, and also making sure that I can take the design all the way to production. So sometimes when we don't have the work that we can actually show, because we have a new technology in audio, so sometimes we'll initiate programs, something like this. We call this the audio where it's a hybrid combination of a headphone, and also it will open up as a speakerphone that you can actually fold it and put it onto a charging station. And this actually got a couple awards for us, the Red Dot and also a Spark Award. So at the same time, we're also working with a customer called Carnival Corporation. They are the #1 cruise company in the industry. So they approach us. They want to do this IoT-based customer service for the cruise industry. It's a really huge project. So I'm going to walk you through how it works. So basically, this thing, imagine that's a hotel. It is literally a hotel. I don't know if you see the cruise ship in person. I actually saw it very recently, like last year when I traveled to Miami to work in Carnival. But I never see a ship before. It was huge. So I was pretty surprised. I know that you guys can see it on Long Beach, right? But I didn't remember seeing them before. So all the connected sensors will know who you are with location-based accessory. So this accessory has a number building, and everyone on board get this coin called medallion. And medallion has a number tied into your name, so they know who you are. You don't have to show out your name. You don't even have to show your passport. When you go into the pool, they can greet you by your first name. So you don't show passport. So when you approach to a bar, they will know, James, we know you like IPA. So do you want your IPA again? That's it. You got it. And the drink will follow you. So if you decide to go to the pool, they will actually follow you all the way to the pool to deliver your drink because they know who you are. So that was pretty cool. So we helped the company to do the whole system from the sensors to bring the medallion to reality, from the engineering, mechanical, electrical, antenna development, and deploy to the whole ship. So that was a rendering, and I want to show one of the animation that we did. At the time, the goal for the animation was kind of promote ourselves, and we asked Carnival for approval to use in our CES booth. And after Carnival saw the video, they said, I want to use it. So they use it for the CES announcement in 2017 as part of an announcement. So there's a footage animation, and our footage was part of that in that presentation. And we kind of strip it down to the version I can share with you guys today. So I am going to try to see if I can play this video right here. Can you guys hear anything? Can you guys hear a little bit right here? Yes, okay. So we did all engineering. And we secretly put our name right here. Placement. So every medallion is actually laser etched, personalized with your name. And there's an accessory that you can purchase. Oh, I happen to have one right here. Oh, I forgot about it. So this one's a double loop. Again, magnets. See that right here? So it's got a chamfer, so there's no way this will fall out. And this is a really early prototype. So we also got hired later to do a teaser or concepts for their game, one of their gaming machine. So after the project, we actually also did a video as our final deliverable. So I'm going to show that as our final. Actually, it's my final slides. So some early sketches of the idea, and some of the sketches coming from the customer with the early design sketches. Some sketches are ours. So that was our teaser video for them. That concludes all the slides. So I kind of walk you through the journey, but I talk about this today is about you, it's not about me. So I did prepare some notes for myself, but I want to make sure this is an interaction, not a one-way street, it's a two-way communication. That means I want to hear from you guys about things you have concerns or questions about the models or mock-ups or anything that I mentioned earlier. I'm kind of throwing myself out there to encourage you to ask questions. I don't know how much time I have, but it seems like we've got some time. I'm glad no one actually fell asleep. I still see all the eyes open. Yes? Yeah. Was the sleeping one, is that funny enough? I slept over there.
That's just place.
Yeah.
Maybe involved
No.
some of the professors.
Yeah, do you have an embarrassing story about Wesley? Or
Do I have anything? Really interesting. I never thought about that question. I know I spend too much time staying in school. I think I mentioned earlier is I kind of feel like I kind of stay in the design bubble. I told some of you guys in the afternoon, I didn't even know how this presentation will end. Because up to this morning when on the fly, actually I was literally typing because I cannot take my laptop out to type. So I should type it on my phone. Okay, right here. So I should type some notes on my phone to see what other things might be really useful for us coming from Long Beach. What are things that are actually really important for me at the time after school? All these years, what are the things I actually learned? So I captured all the notes on my phone. And I thought about how many key takeaways should I actually have. I started with 11, and I feel like 11, who's going to remember 11? James, kind of. So they all kind of had to fight for their attention. And then down to 9, and then I kind of stripped down to 7. I kind of want to show 3 as a starting point, and we start getting bored of losing, and maybe we can stop right there. But I thought there are definitely a few things that I want to share. Can we try it? See how it works? Yes. I'm just going to see my notes and see if I remember anything from here. I think what's really important throughout the years I remember is actually you have to love what you do. I know it sounds really easy, but design is actually really tough. It's a really tough job. It is true. It's not always fun. Sometimes it's really painful. But that's part of a journey, and it's normal. And it's expected, because if it's too easy, everyone else will be doing it. And that's okay too. I think we as a designer, you will evolve. So not everyone is into sketching, not everyone is into design. You can be kind of gradually kind of move on to CMF specialist. You can be really good at 3D CAD. You only want to build perfect surfacing for 3D CAD. That's okay too. If you like animation, if you like 3D renderings, that's a great profession too. So you can evolve. You don't have to be a designer literally doing hands-on design, but you can actually grow and evolve from that typical design rule, and that's okay. You can also do product development. You can do something like myself right now. Oftentimes I pamper the design all the way to the factories. So I sit down with the factories and see how the flow, making sure everything is right, but oftentimes not. So you have to sit down with engineers, with factory PMs to see how can we actually push and pull to find the best balance between your design, between usability, between reliability. I know something that you guys probably never heard. But all the products you see on the market, they all have to go through those processes to make sure they can break in a proper time. They all are designed to break at some point. But it's a cycle you have to follow through. And they are tough decisions to make. One example I want to share with you. In a very early stage when we designing this keyboard, this is actually what we call the probably DV1, DV2. So in the very early stage, we call EV, Engineering Verification Build. That's called the EV1. Usually EV1 and POC, proof of concept, that's in the same stage. It's the first time the factory building the sample to kind of mimicking the design. So I was in China, and the engineer was working with me, and the first thing we see coming out and it doesn't look right, and we spend a whole week, nothing looks right. And my job at the time was making sure everything looks right, but obviously I didn't deliver my promise. And I make sure I did communicate back to my managers, and he told me, James, if you think it's not right, just say it's not right. Because if you say it's right, it's gonna be more problem for us. And I told him, do you know, it's not good, it's bad. He said, then just say it's bad. So I told the PM, it's really, really bad. And PM said, okay, if you say so, you know, it's a big deal. When they're about to sign NG for the master sample, the PM told me this. Just let you know, James, once you sign NG, that's 500K right there. I was like, but I still have to sign NG because it's definitely not there. So that was 500K, done. So in a way, ID in some companies has a lot of responsibility because if you approve something in the end, you have to take the responsibility. So my job is making sure everything comes out right. If it's not right, I have to communicate and try to fix a problem on site with engineers. Some companies having that forgiven designer will do such kind of things like scrub the whole bill for 500K. It's a great learning for me. At the same time, it was great responsibility. You kind of have to love what you do because I spent in the factory the whole time, but just not good enough. So I'm glad I got that support from my manager in the company. So the next thing I want to talk about is empathy. You probably hear about empathy all the time. People talk about empathy, but what does that mean, empathy? So for me, the empathy is about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. We all heard about this before. But think about this, before you talk to your manager, before you talk about your CEO, before you talk to your instructor, think about from their perspective. That will actually help you to craft your message differently. Imagine I'm going to an interview. Think about from his or her perspective first. Trust me, all the recruiter, they really want to fill that position. From the recruiting perspective, the more people they can recruit, that means they have a checklist. If I can send 10 people and the hiring manager say, yep, I want to interview this person, that's a good thing for the recruiter. So the recruiter is actually on your side to make sure that you are actually getting an okay for the interview. So think about from her or his perspective. What are the things she wants to hear or he wants to hear? So make sure you do your homework. Always do your homework before you go interview, knowing who is the hiring manager, what's his position, and do a search. Whatever search you want to do, at least a LinkedIn search. See his job history, where he worked, so make sure the question you ask is always relevant. And that's really important because that shows you really care and you do your homework. Okay, so to me, that's a really important part. I love questions, yes. I think going to the factory was very interesting because I mentioned earlier, English is my second language. So I speak Mandarin Chinese. So for me in China, the only person on the team speaks Chinese. It's something that I didn't know, but something that I can leverage. The PM speak English, and everyone has this really serious conversation. Why is it not working? It's not working. I was able to actually go on the table to say, hey, why is it not working? In Chinese, tell me what's going on. I thought about English, my second language, was a weakness, but it turned out in this job, Chinese actually is kind of like my strength. So I was able to negotiate in many occasions between factory PMs and our PMs on getting things how we wanted. Sometimes I can say, hey, if I can, let this one go, I make sure I get the price down, or can I make sure I get the parts earlier? And of course, I didn't check in with my PM. The PM said, yeah, okay. If you say okay, then we can do it. So I'll be a negotiator in between. That's kind of naturally bring me to that position. I also know the quality control very well. So all the line manager will tell me, James, today's good, good, good. I always walk all the way to the end of the line. And the lady happened to be the one approving everything because she has to document all the parts coming off on the line. She would say, no. I trust her words more than anyone else because she is my eyes on this line to make sure everything comes right. So again, I give her all the credit, and she's going to be my best friend. Every time I come out, I look at her, she will tell me that it's good. She feels really good. I say, as long as she's happy, I'm happy. That's always my approach. Of course, I need to make sure I do my job, but give people credit when you can. And that naturally lead me to a position that I become more, I would say, more friends, and people want to work with me more. And that naturally, everything comes together. When the team has to grow, I was in a position to help the team to grow, and also looking after the whole team. And that was my job. So my job now is grow leaders. That's my job. Leading my team and also making sure that we grow and everyone's happy in terms of personal goal and also the business goal. So that's like my job. I use both. I actually have a few. So really funny thing is actually when I get hired by Microsoft, my hiring manager told me that, hey James, I got you a Mac. So, but it's running a PC, just to let you know. I actually getting a lot of eyes when I go to interviews, and all the PMs and all the researchers, they would look at me, James, using a Mac, because everyone's PC. Using a Mac, you guys are designers. I've been told that actually Microsoft buying the most Macs for some reason, I don't know, globally maybe, for research purposes. Yeah, but I do have Mac and PCs, and I have a few. When I was working in Surface, I have many of the testing units I can use. So I have both, yeah. If you ask me why, I just have both. I don't know why, but let's just give me one, I just take it. If you give me a PC, I'll use it too. But at home, I use Mac. So I want to be able to be flexible between devices. I love seeing hands, but can we just take one by one? Yes, please. So you always go back to the problem statement. You always want to know what's the mission. You always ask, what's the success look like? What do we want to achieve? Because you really need to have the problem statement to kind of measure the success. Otherwise, how do we know it's a successful design or not? So that's always my first question. But before I get into that question, I always ask, what are the challenges that you are seeing right now, or we seeing right now as you are facing, or we are facing? I like to use the word we, because if I start using we, that means we are together as a partner now. That comes really handy sometimes. Because you cannot tell me, James, that's a problem I'm facing. I'm gonna say that's a problem we are facing. And next time, when I sell something to you, I say, based on our conversation, that's a problem we have. That means we are tied in together. And then this person will say, yep, that's a problem. And then I'll propose ideas to address those problems. Our solutions addressing our problems, he will naturally say, yep, that's a great solution. And I will take his idea or my idea, I will say, your idea last time or your input last time was really great. This is what we come up with. So I always give clients, if they have some truly good feedback, I will at least to show them. At least to take one of his advice to incorporate to one of the design. And sometimes I'll tweak a little bit, but I was still using him as, kind of, as a credit. So always tying together, and most likely you'll get the final yes. James, that's great, let's ship it. In a way, that's how a success will look like. And of course, I have to look after all the user experience and design. I will need to make sure I actually like it and I want to use it. Because in the end, it's all about myself, right? Because designers, you design something, you have to love to use it too. So we kind of have to love what we do. So that's how I measure success. Happy clients, happy life, happy business. In the end, it's kind of still a business. That kind of lead to my next thing. But before we go to the next, I want to hear yes. I think you need to have your own some kind of habit or something in a hobby in a way. So I think design, once you drill down too deep, it's really hard to separate yourself away from design. It's really hard. So that's something I'm working really hard for the past few years. I call design is really addicting. And every time when I see a product, I see problems, I see imperfections, I see things how they didn't do properly, how come the gap is not consistent, how come the surface is really funny. Sometimes I think that's a curse as a designer, but you kind of have to make peace with it. So try new things. I would say encourage you to go learn something that totally out of your comfort zone. I did that with Argentinian tango. I'm not kidding. It's real. I never liked dance. I never considered I can dance. But I told myself, James, go try it. It's out of the comfort zone. And I did. And I had to be really, really focused in class to make sure I don't look stupid. So find something that will take your attention away from design. It can be cooking, can be gardening, painting. I think painting and drawing actually might be pretty good too. Not think about design, thinking about fashion, for example. So maybe shopping will help too, I don't know. But just take you away from design is really helpful. So find a hobby, find something else to do. I think everyone will have different experience, and I can say that I was really lucky that the first company I picked, a lot of Bay Area company, it depends on the managers, but I was really lucky my manager actually gave me a lot of leeway, I would say. I still remember the first project, first sketch I did, it's actually pretty bad. Now I think bad is really, really bad. But they actually allow me to grow because I was surrounded by people that are actually better than me. In many ways, that's okay. Better than me in many ways. So eventually, I catch up. And I always tell myself that, James, you're behind. You have to work hard. So I did work really hard. To the point that manager told me this, James, go home. You will not survive because you cannot keep working like this. So I did work really hard. And that's why I picked a hobby to actually go learn Argentinian tango. I think that helps. Yeah. So to your question, yeah. So everyone's different. But it took me about, I would say, 6 months to get comfortable. And same thing with Microsoft, because you're learning totally different skill sets. So the company usually will allow you to have some time. 6 months is usually a pretty common time that even me as a hiring manager, I would see my new member come in and spend 6 months and to get up to speed on the things, how we do things. So that's give and take. Mm-hmm. Anything? Yes? So I think what we are trying to do as a designer, I think we are trying to deliver an experience. So I think everything we do nowadays is trying to enable an experience. So that's why I want to keep emphasizing whatever you do now, don't just think about this object. Think about that delightful factor or the delightful experience you can deliver through the product that you're actually designing. So I think eventually the technology is going to be kind of fading to the background. And the personal statement, the experience will be stay in the foreground. I think nowadays fashion is definitely going in that direction as well. You want to make the fashion statement. Technology will be there to support, but you don't want things like hanging around you, kind of screaming at you, I'm technology. You want that kind of fading, kind of soft, kind of calm you down, and it's working is there, but it's not screaming at you. I think that's the direction that we are going. And everything when it gets smaller and smaller, kind of eventually goes away. Something that you can wear that in your clothing that has battery built-in with antenna built-in. Something's there, but you don't see it, but it's there. Now you are connected to the rest of the world. I never consider myself success because I think everyone have their own measurement of success. I think success is a really big word. I still see myself learning every day. Opening consulting firm, I thought about it. But everyone get 24 hours, so you want to make sure that you put the time that where matter the most. Opening a firm, that means you're going to invest even more time. And of course, the risk will involve too. I don't know. Maybe next year I will. Even I tell you that I haven't thought about it, but maybe I will. So I want to keep that open-minded. But success is a big word, and I try not to tell myself that I'm in that position yet, because I think that's a good thing. I want to tell myself that I'm always learning. I should always be learning. School is only to a certain point, and afterwards, it's on you. So a couple of things I think is really important. I love podcasts. I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts. There are tons of good material out there. Maybe not everything is right for you, but there was definitely something out there that you can pick and learn from. In fact, actually, I really hate presentation. I don't know if you guys know. I really hate this. And when I was in school, maybe that was a question that in funny moment. Okay, yes, I do have funny moment in presentation. I don't like presentation. I remember when I was in school, I don't want to present. the reason why I really want to do my sketch well is hopefully people can get my idea without me being talking all the time. I hate that. So I will come up here and say, that's my design, and that's what I'm thinking. Hopefully the drawing will explain itself. Thank you, everyone. That was kind of like my presentation, I remember. One of the early ones. So it takes practice. I don't like it. Sometimes I'm really, really nervous. But it's something that you will learn. And you kind of have to learn. It takes time and effort. But it can be learned. It's no one born with natural presenting. There are skills involved. And there are tricks involved as well. Do we like this subject right now? I'm going to keep going with presentation because I have one more thing I want to share in presentation. So I voluntarily signed up for a presentation class that in Microsoft. Sometimes they have budget that will send you for training. So I voluntarily signed up for this project, for this learning program. So Microsoft sent me to this training program for 3 days in San Francisco. Everything is paid for, your hotel, your food, and your tickets. And the class cost $3,000. So I want to give you the secrets. There are a few things they teach. Number one, knowing your audience. Before you present, you always have to do your homework, knowing who is going to be there tonight. I actually asked how many students will show up, how many professionals, and I kind of have to see who's here and what, and kind of calculating and making sure no one is falling asleep. So I kind of have to do my homework. That's why the first time I came in, I want to see how many of you have show up. If you look all really, really tired, I want to put something in there to make sure that everyone stays engaged. So knowing your audience, very important. So when you go into interview, knowing that who is in what position, understanding where they're coming from, do a research on their background. If you know this person is a decision maker, make sure you talk to this person. Second, eye contacts. I don't know if you guys notice, I intentionally make eye contacts. I intentionally do that because you know I'm talking to you. That means you cannot hide away. That means you cannot fall asleep. And then move on to the next person. Sometimes I will jump all the way here. So you know I'm talking to you as well. That's the only way you can actually have everyone stay engaged. That's the only way you can get your message across. The third, pause. Some people heard me this afternoon in junior class. Pause. Pause is one of the very important skills that we all have to learn. I intentionally use pause right now. I don't know if you notice. I actually make you wait. And I walk. And I talk. So that was a skill they actually teach you. Pause is really important. And you want to make sure when you pause, you construct, then you communicate. And people will get it. They will remember. They will actually hear you. They need time to process. If you're just mumbling through, no one just, it's gone. So say less, focus on the keywords, pause, and then communicate. Good? Those are the really high-level presentation skills that I learned. And I'm trying to learn or practice. I'm still practicing. Now I'm actually practicing what I learned. So thank you for all the opportunity I can learn. So that actually is for me as well. So it's really important. And it's okay to present to your customers or your classmates and try to learn that skills and encourage each others. Now is the best time to practice. And you can master this skill. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what you sell, even you're selling a house. Magnificent. Look at the lighting fixtures, right? So doesn't matter what you do. I think presentation skill will always take you to the next level. Doesn't matter what you do. Okay, do we still have some time? We still have everyone here? The next thing I want to talk about, sketching. I know it's a really touchy subject. Some people like sketching, some people say, yeah. So here is my experience with sketching. I spend a lot of time on sketching, but then I realized one thing, what's really important down to the end. If you want to woo and wow your customers or potential clients, here's how you do it. It's not a sketching and nicely juicy render and put it right there and don't stop talking. No. Try to master the skill. Practice sketching on the whiteboard or chalkboard. Present it to the customer in real time. I actually tried it myself. I spent an hour at a time just sketching on the wall and make sure that my handwriting can be seen from a reasonable distance. So when I go into the meeting, I know people are going to be sitting right over there. So I want to make sure when I sketch, they can actually see it. And I want to make sure my perspective is correct. If perspective's off, everybody know. It is true. And trust me, if your perspective is good, that takes way, way farther than anything else. The customer will be like, woo, you can draw this in two-point perspective. Oh, now that looks so real now. James, you're really good. It's just practice. I'm not good. I just focus on that skill and I practice. And I wish somebody told me at the time in class, but nobody actually taught me at the time. And that was really useful. So going to a job interview, if somebody asks you, what do you think of that? And you can ask, can I use the board? And you can sketch right here. I think we can try this, and if you can demonstrate that skills, that will be really useful because this is not something that everyone would do. They will remember.
Can you provide a live example?
We're going to be looking at his perspective, too.
You could say no.
Yeah, I'll pass. Today it's not about me. That's how I can get away with it. Okay. That's a good one. I know I don't have much time, but I want to make sure I get to everything. So sketching, perspective, make sure you're honing on your perspective. Really important. Okay, I'm going to check my notes to see what else I want to share, make sure I don't lose anything before I got sidetracked. I think one last thing I want to share is the sooner you can actually realize design is not the center of the universe, I think that will help you very much. I think I mentioned that earlier. So now I actually told myself, James, try to go out, do nothing about design. So I recently get into gardening. I do my own compost. And recently I see that actually working. I was pretty surprised that actually working. So nothing to do with design. So make sure that you go out not just thinking about design. Try to think from the higher perspective, from the business perspective. Think about from someone else's perspective. Thinking about if you are the business owner, how can I best to see this employee want to grow and also want to promote this person. So think about from his or her perspective before you walk into his or her office. Same thing with job interview. You want to make sure you do homework. And sometimes, just don't even think about design at all. Okay? I think that's probably it. I don't have a proper ending, because I never thought about the ending. Because how can you end? Because design is such a no limitation. You can go on and on and on and on, but we can have to stop somewhere. But I hope that helps. That's kind of like my ending.
James, great presentation. Students, great questions. Make sure you sign the sign-in sheet before you leave, and write your papers if you decide to write a paper for James' presentation. See you guys next week with Eddie Yang.
Thank you again.